Good morning, folks. So, as many of you know, I went to Ed's and rejoined his group. This is the shed that I bought. It's just an 8 foot by 12 foot lean-to style shed, and I was able to get it on a discount. So, I did some research. For me to build an 8 foot by 12 foot shed, with all the roofing materials, the siding on it, and everything, would have cost me around 5,000. I was able to get this on a discount, and it only cost me 31.50. So that's why I decided to go ahead and just buy it. Now, some of you are going to be like, well, I thought you were going to build it. I'm going to build off of it. But as you have seen with my awning that I'm still trying to do and find time to do, that's my biggest issue. My biggest issue is just finding the time, because some of you don't know, but I drive a big truck. And one of the things with driving a big truck is we can work anywhere from 40 hours to 70 hours a week, right? Add in the time, boy, my hair's a mess. Add in the time to go to work and come back, because I live about an hour and 15 minutes from work. So you're adding in 2.5 hours a day on top of that, just driving to work and back, right? Now, to go to Ed's, for me, is an 8-hour ride, okay? So, it's a good bug out location for me, but I'm still going to be looking at it mostly as a camping spot, right? And the reason I say that is, it is 8 hours away. Now, some of you are going to say, well, that's stupid. Why would you do that? Here's why. Now, we always prepare ahead of time, right? And one of the things that is coming up for me, if shift doesn't happen, right? One of the things that's coming up for me is retirement. Okay, I'm getting close to retirement age, and I'm starting to look at areas I want to retire to. And one of those areas is over by Beckley, West Virginia. So, I really love the area. There's a lot of hiking trails out there. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Okay, now, a lot of you are like, well, you lived on the coast all your life, blah, 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 right? You used to flat ground, blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you something. I live here on the coast. And because I live here on the coast, I can tell you 100% that you can't go to the beach. I want that to sink in. We can't go to the beach. And the reason we can't go to the beach is because all the tourists come in and it's so crowded that you can't, you got to pay to park. You can't find anywhere to park, right? And then when you get to the beach, there's so many people, you can't find anywhere to just sit on the beach. I mean, it's just local people don't go to the beach because just to get out on the main road in the summertime here takes 30 minutes because the traffic is so horrendous, right? So yeah, I don't go to the beach. I've been to the beach 3 times in 61 years. 3 times. And I live right here. So just let that sink in. I'm not a beach person. I like the woods. I like the mountains. Right? So for me, that's what I'm looking at. So to be able to have a camping spot where if I do find property that I want to buy up in West Virginia, at least I have somewhere to go to sleep before I go and look at that property, right? And then once I have my property out there, then I'm able to have a group of people that I know, and be able to enjoy the time. So yeah, it sounds counterintuitive until you look at it from my perspective, right? And understandably, I'm researching right now. I'm researching, well, how do we set this shed up so that we don't have mold and no fire hazard if I put a wood stove in it, yada yada yada, right? So that's what we've been doing this week while we were at work, is we've been doing deep diving a bunch of research, right? And you want to do it right. Now that you've heard what I have to say about joining Ed's group, now you kind of get a bigger and a better idea of why, right? And understandably, I might not retire for 5 more years, right? But in preparedness, you plan ahead. You just don't go, oh, well, I'm going to go buy a year's worth of food, freeze-dried food, put it in the back corner, and I'm prepared. No, you're not. You're not. Have you tried that food? Is it edible for you? Okay? So there's a lot to preparedness that people don't talk about, right? Because everybody sits there and goes, well, I'll just stock food and I'll have food on the shelf. Well, great. Now, what happens if, let's look at Hurricane Helene, right? There were several preppers that were up in that area that lost everything. Gone. So you have to take the approach that our ancestors took, right? So you don't look at just, oh, I'm just going to put food on the shelf. Oh, I'm just going to put medical supplies on the shelf. Oh, I'm just going to do this, right? No, you have to take a full circle approach. And you have to look at, growing food. You have to look at, okay, I've got food in the ground. It's going to be ready to harvest here in a month. What do I do with it, right? How do I save it, right? So then you have to look at dehydrating, freeze drying, canning, water bath canning, right? Fermenting. You have to look at what works for what plant. And so all of that takes research and time. Now, it sounds like a lot, but in the end, if you take it one small step at a time and you learn one thing at a time, eventually up here you will have a lot of knowledge. Now, part of that knowledge you need to include bushcrafting, right? You need to include foraging. You need to include wild edibles. You need to include hunting, fishing. You need to include how to cook, right? Spices, right? What spices can you grow? What spices do you need to stock because you can't grow? How long are those spices good for? How long is that food good for? How do I make an off-grid ice box? How do I make a root cellar? I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, right? Butchering. Oh, I'm just going to go hunt for everything I need. Okay. Do you know how to butcher that animal? Are you just going to take just the prime cuts off of that animal and leave the rest to rot? Are you not going to use the hide for something? So do you know tanning? You see how the list goes on and on and on. And it can really overwhelm you if you don't look at it from a practical standpoint, which is why I always say you need to do things that work for you, because what works for me may not work for you. Okay? So I highly recommend that you listen to several experts in their field. Okay? You listen to what they are doing. You learn from their mistakes. Because trust me when I tell you, I have made mistakes. Right? I've made major mistakes. You've seen it. Okay? I tried to plant blueberries. They didn't take. I tried to make cuttings off of blueberries. Hello? They didn't take either. Okay? So it is a learning experience, and it's a daily thing, because you need to look at everything that you do and think about, okay, I like my coffee in the morning. Do I have enough coffee? If the stores run out of coffee, do I have enough of coffee to last me a month? What happens if the stores go out because of a major hurricane or a major fire or an earthquake? What happens if the stores are not going to be restocked for 2 months? 3. Do you have enough on the shelf? Do you know how to store it? There's another thing. You can have all the food in the world, but if you don't store it correctly, you're going to have pests, you're going to have rodents, mold, and possibly botulism set up in your food. It's a constant thing, folks. The main thing that you need to do, honestly, the main thing that you need to do is make sure that you're looking at things with an eye to okay, if I can't get this tomorrow, is it going to affect my quality of life? If the power goes out tomorrow, how long can I survive without electricity? Okay? These are simple things. I'm not saying the world's going to come to an end. I'm not saying that there's going to be people breaking into your house, which in some areas they do, taking and shooting everybody. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is you look at this from an honest perspective. And one of the biblical principles that you can look at is Joseph. Go read the story about Joseph in the Bible. He was thrown in prison, eventually made it up in front of the Pharaoh through God's grace, and eventually saw what was coming and prepared the entire nation of Egypt to survive a 7-year famine. When you look at it in that perspective, you go, it's a biblical principle to prepare. It's not crazy. It's a biblical principle to take care of your family, right? To take care of your neighbors, to take care of your community. It's a biblical principle. So, if you don't know nothing about preparedness, start researching. If you're watching me on YouTube, you have the ability to Google stuff. You have the ability to look at, okay, what do tomato plants require? What do cucumber plants require? What does garlic require? You have that ability. It's not as simple as sticking a seed in the ground. Okay? Certain plants require certain minerals in the soil, and certain plants require different soil. Like some require more clay, more sand. Some require more of the richer black soil with more potassium and nitrogen in it, right? It depends on your area and what plants grow there, right? And how long of a grow period you have. So it depends on the zone it's complicated, right? Everything in life just is not handed to you on a plate. You have to go and research it yourself, okay? And I can't tell you how many people I've sat there and talked to over the years and said, look, you might want to think about having, 3 to 7 days just in case this hurricane comes in, and they're like, well, if things get really bad, I'll just come to your place. No, you're not. No. Do you think you're going to come mooch off of me? I've spent my time and my money to get my homestead to where it's at, and you think you're just going to come mooch off of me? I don't think so. I don't think so. So you need to stop thinking about, oh, I'm just going to go there, or I'm just going to go there. No, you have to put the work in. And this is what I'm talking about when I said that I'm rejoining Ed's group, right? Yes, I have to put work in. Yes. I have to put work into my house. Do you think a house cleans itself? No. Right? Do you think gardens don't require maintenance? No, they do. Do you think chickens don't require maintenance? They do. Okay? So it drives me a little crazy because I talk to people about things of this nature, and the responses I get back is, "Well, you're stupid to be working on his property for free." Okay, let's look at that. Let's look at that. Have you looked at the cost of a campground membership lately? A nightly fee, and then you don't know who you're camping by? Have you looked at some of the ridiculous rules in some of these HOAs? Have you looked at RV campsites and what is required on some of these RV campsites if you have a permanent one? Now, I'm going with permanent. I'm not going with the temporary. Because, I can go and I can go primitive. Go primitive camping somewhere, and it might only cost me $35 for that night. Okay? But you have no... Okay. I've been camping out at one of these primitive campsites, and I paid to be there, and at 2 o'clock in the morning get woke up because some drunk, homeless individual is trying to come into my tent. That's the reality, folks. That's the reality. I'm just telling you, you need to think ahead, okay? And I'm thinking ahead, and it looks like I'm gone off the deep end, but I haven't, okay? I want to be clear, I haven't, okay? I'm thinking 5 steps ahead. Like I said, I'm looking at retiring soon. It could be 5 years from now that I retire, but I know that that is coming up. So I am preparing now for when that happens. It's just like if you're getting ready to go on vacation, and you have a vacation coming up in 6 months, right? You start to make sure your passports are in order. There's no flag on you. What can you take, right? What areas are you going to go see? Yada 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 yada, right? You do the same thing. It's just I do it a little bit different. I look years down the road, not just today. Okay? That's funny. Move my hand and the light changes. So, yes, I bought a small little lean-to shed. And of course, I'm going to have to put insulation in it. I'm going to have to look at moisture control. I'm going to have to, get the wood stove, yada, 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 right? And that all takes money, and it all takes time. And you have to work for that, right? Here's my thing. A lot of you are like, well, Ed is just using these people, blah, 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 blah. And you keep going on and on and on and on and on about it, right? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. At least he's doing something. Right? At least he's doing something. A lot of you that are complaining, what are you doing? Because I can guarantee you, you're not going to survive on your own. It takes a village. That's old wisdom. It takes a village to raise a child, right? It takes a village. You can't do everything by yourself. Trust me, I've tried. You can't. There are certain things that you got to do that you got to have two sets of hands for. It's the God honest truth. It's the God honest truth. You can't do it all on your own. It takes a village. You can't grow everything. You can't raise everything. Right? You can do quite a bit on your own. But honestly, certain things you can't do it all, right? And once you start researching how much food it takes for a family of 4 for a year, and how much land you would have to farm, and how much beef and chickens and ducks and goats and sheep you would have to raise to feed that family of 4, is quite a bit. And some areas will not grow certain crops. So guarantee you're going to have to do trading. Guarantee you're going to have to go somewhere to get other supplies. Right? Some kind of either barter system or trade system. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. The point is you can survive for a certain amount of time on your own, but eventually you're going to have those systems in place, because there's no way you can store 80 years of food and supplies. Just no way. Think about that. So yeah, you need to think about that, right? You can you get a group in your community together and work together with people? Absolutely. Absolutely. If you can find them, and if they're willing to work together with you, and they're not, like in my area, all militia. Absolutely. I enjoy the people in Ed's group. I like every one of them. It's a good group of people. Do I agree with everything Ed's doing? No. But I don't agree with everything I do. Right? I do something, I come back and I go, why did you do that? That was stupid. Right? So, yes, I've rejoined Ed's group. And now you know why. And now you see what I'm heading for. And this is the only video I'm going to do on that. I'm not going to keep going over this. I'm not going to hash it out with you anymore. This is the only video I'm going to do on that, and my reasoning behind it. Okay? I just felt like some of you needed to see it from my perspective. And I felt like some of you are not thinking ahead. And it was in my spirit to let you know this, right? I like Ed. I like Joe. I love Patera. I love Bear Independent, right? I absolutely enjoy pinball. All of these people I watch and listen to, and I take tips from every one of them, okay? Some of us you can take good tips from, some of them, But you got to use your own discernment and pick and choose what you're going to listen to and pick and choose the information that you're going to get from those individuals. And yeah, that's what I had for you this morning. This will probably take several hours to upload. I mean, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning here. It probably won't upload until about 1, because that's normally how long it takes. But yeah, let me know your opinion. Good or bad. I'll take all opinions, right? Bicycle.